All right, welcome to another explainer. This time, we're diving into a story where a simple little bet about who has the faster app, well, it ends up revealing a much, much deeper lesson about value. Let's get right into it.
So the whole thing kicks off with this teenager. You know the type, super confident, bragging about his phone. He's all like, my banking app has the fastest face scan in the world. And he's saying this to an older guy, Satoshi, kind of mocking his no-name app. It's that classic setup, right? The flashy new tech versus something, well, something different.
And boom, just like that, a bet is on the table. The stakes? Not exactly high roller stuff. We're talking 500 baht, or if the teenager wins, he buys everyone bubble tea. But here's the clever part. Satoshi is using this tiny bit of greed to spark a race. A race between good old traditional banking and something entirely new.
Okay, so let's meet the contenders. In one corner, you've got the teenager with his modern banking app, you know, the kind that has to phone home to a central server for everything. And in the other corner, you have Satoshi with his Bitcoin P2P app. It works on a completely different playbook. So yeah, the race is officially on.
So, the teenager's up first. He taps the app, and what do we see? Oh yeah, the dreaded spinning wheel of death. It spins and spins, then it finally tries to scan his face. And scan failed. Why? Apparently his face was too oily. I mean, who hasn't been there? It's that classic frustrating moment of modern tech just not working.
And Satoshi? Before the kid could even wipe his face and try again, you just hear this one sound. Ding. That's it. It's over. Transaction complete. No loading screens, no face scans, no waiting for a bank. Just clean, instant, done.
The teenager is, understandably, completely floored. He's looking at his own failed scan, and then hears that ding, and he just can't process it. His first thought? Hey, are you cheating? Because in his world, how could a transaction possibly go through without getting the bank's okay first? It just doesn't compute.
And this is where Satoshi drops the knowledge bomb. He explains the magic, and it's actually super simple. It's peer-to-peer, P2P. He puts it in the perfect way. It's not friend to bank to friend. It's just friend to friend. It cuts out that middleman completely.
So, the teenager actually gets it. He's impressed. He lost fair and square. His friend, Alisa, pipes up and suggests, hey, you won, why don't you be a good sport and buy the bubble tea anyway? You know, the generous thing to do, right? Seems like a pretty normal end to a friendly bet.
Yeah. But that is not what happens. The story just takes this incredibly sharp turn. Satoshi doesn't smile, he doesn't offer to treat, he just says, no, a deal is a deal. And then he literally reaches out and takes the 500 baht bill right out of the teenager's hand, cold.
Everyone is just shocked. Alicia is furious. How could he be so greedy? The teenager just kind of mutters to his friends that the old guy must be desperate for the money. And it really looks that way, right? It looks so petty. Why would he act like this over such a tiny amount of cash?
But then, we get a tiny clue that there's more to this story. We see Satoshi's little robotic dragon, BitDraw, whisper to him. And what does it say? It praises his Oscar-level performance. Wait, a performance? Suddenly you realize, oh, this wasn't about greed. This was an act.
And right then, the whole scene shifts. The camera zooms right in on Satoshi's eyes. Everything around him just slows down and goes silent. We're about to get a glimpse into his head to see what's really going on.
And then we see it. For just a split second, a flashback reveals his crypto wallet balance, and it's 1,096,000 Bitcoin. Let that sink in. A fortune so huge that the idea of him being desperate for 500 baht is just completely ridiculous. Then we get the backstory. We learn that way back in 2024, he used something called a freeze key on that very wallet. He deliberately locked it all away. Why? To remove the temptation. So this guy isn't greedy, he's the exact opposite. He's fighting against the pull of that immense wealth. And we hear his inner thoughts, his real motive. He's thinking, this paper money will be nothing but fuel for a fire in a few years. He realized that to teach this kid a lesson about real value, he had to make him feel the loss. The sting of having that physical cash taken away was the whole point.
And that's the big reveal. The 500 baht, it wasn't a prize. It was a tuition fee. Payment for a lesson about speed, about decentralization, and about what it really means to protect value. The act of taking the money, of making it feel real, that was the lesson. A lesson that kid is probably never going to forget.
So that's where we leave things. A lesson was paid for, and you gotta hope it was a lesson learned. Make sure you join us next time for episode 05, The Scholar.